part of this history, but for making it possible, happening now, with all of us in good health. You know, there are some of our friends and brothers who wished to be here, but for reason of ill health are not here. So even if you lack everything, once you are healthy and able to move around, we must always give glory to God. I personally welcome each and every one of you to this family meeting, to this interactive session with my colleagues, former presiding officers of state legislature. I am indeed very proud, not in the arrogant sense, to be a member of this family. Before getting to where I am, I was in the House of Representatives from 2003 to 2015. I won 3 consecutive elections and stayed and served in the House of Reps for 12 years running, unbroken. As it is today then, I belong more here than on the executive side. You donated me to be where I am today. Therefore, this is my primary constituency. At the legislature, at a point in time, some leaders in my senatorial constituency were trudging me to try the Senate, and that was in 2011. I said no, for 2 reasons. One, that I believe that I can still continue in the House of Reps and be as effective. And secondly, which was personal, out of deference to my senior brother who was in the Senate then, Senator Omar Bahim, and I remained in the House of Reps. In the House of Reps, my first appointment was Deputy Chair, House Committee on Rules and Business. Every presiding officer knows what rules and business is and who he can entrust with the Rules and Business Committee. Rules and Business is an extension of leadership of the House. Just a year, almost and a half later, there was a change of pattern. For some reasons, members of the House from the ANPP caucus needed a change in leadership. It took months of planning, and ultimately there was an impeachment of the leadership of that House, of the ANPP caucus. Then the leader, Dr. Ahmed Salik from Kano, and Whip Usman Balkori from Sokoto, Deputy Leader Engineer Gajibo from Borno, and our brother Etebet from Akwa Ibom. The 4 were the leaders of the ANPP caucus and #1 minority table, because after that we had AD minority caucus. When the leadership change was effected, members resolved that they wanted a shift of minority leadership from where it was in Kano, Jigawa, Kaduna, and Katsina to someone else in the other block. where we call Northwest B. Meanwhile, the party under Etebet had zoned these particular positions the way I have just told you. And members resisted the party that they look, we are looking for a leader that is our leader. We are not looking for zoning. And they insisted, and they effected it. And I emerged as that leader that they were looking for from the other zone. When we came back in 2007, under the able leadership of late Umar Musa Yar'Adua, of blessed memory, may Allah have mercy on his soul, the party zoned offices again. And we were given deputy chief whip of the House, Northwest. I was invited to a dinner by leaders from each state of Northwest Zone. And we sat down, and I can tell you that I was the youngest among them. They said, Aminu. I said, Sas. They said, we have decided, we as leaders of the 6 northern states minus Sokoto, that any position that is coming to this zone, you are going to be the one that is going to be that principal officer from this zone. Now that the party has said it is deputy chief whip, you are the one that should go and be our deputy chief whip. Is that your decision? They said yes. Some of them were coming back to that house for the third time, and that was my second time. I accepted. I therefore served as deputy chief whip. When Linus Omo was introducing himself, he knew why he was talking about that pro-panel. But eventually they recommended that Madam Ete should go. Virtually, there was a very major upheaval. I, of course, stood by Madam Speaker, because I know that all of what was being said was not true. And I was guided by my conscience, by the truth, and by the law. It wasn't about sentiment. But when it was time that she could no longer continue as Speaker, I was one of those who told her that, Madam, it is time to leave. And she listened to us and left. And Bankole emerged. The thinking then was that all of us should go. There was a lot of trouble. Betel Amadi, of blessed memory, lost his seat of chief whip to my brother and friend, Emeka Ehedo. After all is said and done, we settled down, we continued. When it was time for the House of Reps to now go along with the Senate on the issue of doctrine of necessity, my brother and friend, Dimeji Bankole, was not willing to do so. My brother and friend, Senator Dixon Siriake, who was leading the squad for President Jonathan to be made acting president, was doing it the wrong way. There was tension and almost chaos in the House of Representatives. We called Dixon. I sat him down. I said, Dixon, you are going the wrong way. If you go through that route of raising sentiments, this thing will not fly. Let's look at this objectively and speak about Nigeria and how to save our country. If you agree, take the back seat. I am the principal officer from the Northwest Zone of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua. We are very aware of the situation of the country. So let me drive it. And let me see who that person is that will have more affinity and affiliation to President Umar Musa Yar'Adua than myself, the principal officer from the zone. Governor Dixon, Senator Dixon now accepted to take the back seat. We had some meetings, Byron Nafada, myself, Emeka Ehedoha, Austin Opara, who was outside of the House of Reps, but still our leader, and very influential leader at that. We agreed, I drafted the motion that made Jonathan acting president in the House of Reps. And Speaker Adimeji Bankole was a bit lackadaisical, he was not too sure. I walked up to him as he was presiding. I said, Mr. Speaker, I know that me and you have been supportive of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua. It's not about an individual now, it's not about the president, it's about this country. I appeal to you to support this initiative. It was a bit emotional. I said, look, Mr. Speaker, it is about this country, and we must do the right thing. I brought out the motion. I said, this is the motion. I drafted it. But we've asked the person to move it, so please allow this to go. And that was how the motion for doctrine of necessity was passed in the House of Representatives. Now, coming back to the House of Reps in 2011, we had many members that returned, very experienced, and we saw the need for the House to have its own leadership, evolve from amongst itself, not necessarily relying on what the party was about to do in terms of zoning. So meetings began, and at our own grouping, we've zeroed on Emeka Ehedoha to be the speaker, and we started the movement. We started the movement, and we were doing the numbers. We took so many things into consideration, variables, indices, demography of members, and whatever. And we realized that should a maker be the speaker, there may be a problem. Members approached me that I should be the one. I said no. Instead of me, let us draw up a criteria of a speaker that we want for the 7th House of Reps. We empaneled a committee that came up with a criteria. You can ask Leo Ogo or John Eno, and the rest of them. Friday Tula is here. They're all here, my colleagues and my friends. Onao is here. And they came back to say, Aminu, this criteria, look at it. It's you. We went back, we sat down, we convinced Emeka Ehedoha. He accepted. We said, okay, if Emeka is not going to be the speaker, let him be the deputy speaker. And when they came, I said, look, you may need to do me a favor. I want you to go to Sokoto and see some of my leaders. Let them support this. Let there be no pressure from Homo that will now make me to chicken out halfway. They went, they saw the people. I would mention what President Shagari told them. He said, Aminu is my son. You want to put him forward for this? I said, yes. I appeal to you not to make this a sectional project, or a religious project. Let it be a pan-Nigerian national project. And they took his advice and came back. I got the clearance from home. I said, well, I'm good to go. The rest is history. I took time to give you an insight as to what my political trajectory has been, because especially when you look at the last one, speakership of the House of Reps, the speakership was zoned by the party to the Southwest. Members resisted that and said, we are looking for our own speaker. Speaker for the 7th House of Representatives. Not speaker of, with due respect, a political party. And we tried as 7th Assembly to keep the unity of that house together. You know what happened? On Obama, there were turbulence, but because it was members themselves, or Frank, no be so, that agreed that this should be our speaker. We were able to run a pan-Nigerian House of Representatives. No religious bigotry, no ethnic sentiments. The House of Representatives, the 7th House, was run transparently with every sense of democratic culture. And check it out. We've had other houses. We are still having the House of Reps. Our records speak for us. I'm here before you this morning to notify you that there is this idea about my aspiration to be the standard flag bearer of the PDP and subsequently, by the grace of God, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What I am coming with, therefore, is my pan-Nigerian content. My capacity is known to you. My competence in handling federal issues and governance is there. I have references and referees in some constituencies, one, in some constituencies where I served with two in some constituencies, 3. So in 360 federal constituencies of Nigeria, there can hardly be any constituency that I do not have a referee, someone who can tell you about me, about my character, about my personality, whether I have the right temperament to provide the leadership that Nigeria is yearning and seeking for today when our fault lines have been so widened. It has never been so bad with the unity of this country today. We are looking for someone that can hold the delicate balance, that can run not only a transparent government, but a government that will be inclusive, democratic in culture, and in truth. Someone that will respect the rule of law. My professional calling is a legal profession. I am not only a member of the body of benchers, but I'm a life member. And that is the apex body that regulates the legal profession in Nigeria. If I have not performed as governor of Sokoto State, we will not see these leaders of Sokoto taking me around. If time permits, I would like you, Mr. Chairman, to organize a tour. You come to Sokoto and see what our administration has been able to achieve in the last 6 to 7 years. In healthcare, in education, in empowerment, human capital development, infrastructure, transparency in governance, and ease of doing business. Sokoto is second only to Gombe State in Nigeria as the last ranking. So, in terms of democratic governance, not rhetorics, practical experience of running government, I believe I have it. I believe I possess the requisite academic baccalaureate after having graduated from Smart Nafodi University as a lawyer, having been called to the bar. I attended several courses. But most of these top global universities, is it Oxford, is it Harvard, is it Cambridge, is it Stanford, is it Tulane? But that is not the issue. You may acquire knowledge, but how to apply it is a different ballgame. You've heard from me, and my colleagues are here, my experience in the legislature, serving as governor, and a lawyer by profession. And from the array of those that are running now, I don't know of tomorrow, but all the names being mentioned that are at the forefront of this consideration for 2023, I beg to say that I'm closer to Soroseki group. The youth, possibly the youngest of them all. Go and check our biodata. Check the genuine one. You will come to the realization that of all of them, I'm the youngest. Age is a factor in what we are doing today. For PDP, I have a question, and all of us here are PDP. Are we looking for zoning or winning? Winning. No, I didn't hear you. Winning. We want to win the election. Yes. Now, with due respect, what I'm going to say, I do not mean any offense. I've seen my leader, Olisametu, coming, and I'm going to use your state. I'm going to use your state as a reference point. And with due respect to the people of the Plateau, I will use your state as another reference point. We had an election in Anambra State. The governor of Anambra State won the election with 112,000 votes. The person next to him, the PDP candidate, secured about 53,000 votes. The third, the APC candidate, had 24,000 votes. The fourth, YYP candidate, had about 20,000 votes. Put together in that state election, governorship, we had about 220,000 votes in between 4 political parties. Just Bassa Federal Constituency in Plateau State, where PDP won. The PDP candidate had about 47,000. PRP, 30. PDP 40. PDP 40,000. PRP 37. Then APC 26. If you add this, it's close to 100,000 federal constituency election. So demography is an issue. Demography is an issue. That was why, after the election, I appealed to PDP to look at these elections and be studying elections and by-elections as we progress towards 2023. APC took their ticket to Katsina in 2015, Katsina, where the last president of PDP, Umar Musa Yar'Adua, died in office in 2010. 5 years later, APC, out of strategic thinking, with Bola Tinubu, he's there, and the rest of them. I was part of it. We said we are looking for how to win. We must get power before we share it. And deliberately, we took APC ticket to Katsina and gave it to President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, Atiku Abubakar contested, Rabi Musa contested, and some in that, and Rochas Okorocha, but we all knew where we were going because we were determined to win. And let me tell you, had APC given that ticket to someone from the South, in particular South, we couldn't have won. Go and check the election results of 2007. President Buhari had 11 million votes before, in 2003. But in 2011 and 7, he had 7 million votes against Yar'Adua because they are from the same Katsina. And he couldn't win him. Buhari and Yar'Adua ran. He couldn't win him. Now, this is for PDP. In the South, as of today, PDP is in 8 government houses. APC is also in 8 government houses, leaving 1. That's Anambra. In the North, APC is in 14 government houses. PDP is in 5 government houses. And they have the president. So I'm giving you this analysis so that together as leaders of our party who are working towards winning election, not zoning, not winning ticket. Yes, you can share ticket because you can tear it and everybody will take his piece and go to his zone. But you must plan to win election. That is the reality of it. It's not anybody's making. I didn't make myself to come from Sokoto, a Fulani man. No, it's God. God could have decided for me to be born somewhere else, not even in Nigeria. So we must accept these realities as a party and work with these realities to win election. After winning, we come down and say, okay, let's share this thing. Let's share power. Win election first. Don't win zoning, no. Win election, and then we come and share power. Because the president and the vice president cannot come from the same zone. They cannot even come from the same region. Am I right? Yes. In fact, they can hardly be of the same faith. If you have president and vice president, Muslim, dead on arrival, in the current Nigerian situation. If you have president and vice president, Christian, dead on arrival. So you must balance the ticket. And we'll sit down and look at, okay, Senate President, this. We cannot do what APC has done, especially this second term. Because we believe in this country, we know this country, we understand the dynamics and complexities of Nigerian nation. Otherwise, how else would you look at the lineup in a federal government like Nigeria? President, Vice President, Senate President, Speaker, Deputy Senate President, Deputy Speaker, SGF, Chief of Staff, even Chairman of Party, none from Southeast. We can't do that. Well, we are involved. I am involved. That cannot happen. So what we need is inclusiveness. We get power, we have inclusiveness, and accommodation for each other, transparency, and then we run the country. To be president of Nigeria requires a lot of energy. Not boxing, no. And intellectual capacity. You need to understand Nigeria itself. So, my brothers and sisters, this journey, this project is our project. We must work as a political party to win elections, working together with several millions of other well-meaning Nigerians who do no longer believe that APC has a solution to the problems of this country. So it is up to us to think well, plan well, and win this election. God bless you.
I am here because I am concerned about the PDP. I am here because I am worried about the PDP. Today, I am here because I am determined that the PDP will win the 2023 election. I come from Anambra State. I come from Newi. My surname is Metu. I will prefer, on sentiments, a Metu to be president. I would prefer an Newi man to be president. I prefer, on sentiments, an Anambra man to be president. I prefer, on sentiments, a Southeast to be president. But what is desirable is different from what is possible. I want to be realistic. I want to be practical. I have looked at the field. I have looked at it. How do we win the presidential election? And today, I have decided and I have come up, after due consultations and after studying the field, that I will unequivocally, publicly dedicate, commit my resources, my time to supporting Aminu Waziri Tambuwal for president. Openly. I am supporting Aminu Tambuwal Waziri because he's competent. I'm supporting him because he can win the election. I'm supporting him because he's a unifier. I'm supporting him because he's a performer. We have seen what he has done in Sokoto. As Speaker of the House, Aminu gave all parts of this country sense of belonging. Everybody was involved. I was publicity secretary. I know fully well that my zone, the Southeast, benefited significantly during his tenure as Speaker, House of Representatives. So I support him. Most importantly, I want to address something. I'm happy that the press are here. We are talking about zoning. We are talking about zoning. Zoning connotes fairness, equity, natural justice. That's what we've been told. If it connotes equity, fairness, and natural justice, I would have thought that the advocates of zoning would first of all zone in their own states to show transparency and to show that they are very, very objective about what they're doing. But a situation where you have people that come from states and some aspects of their states have not tested governor in decades, and yet you have not decided to handle your state or be a voice in your state to advocate fairness, equity. But you insist that you will continue going to a particular area because you feel that you need to win the election. Why are you turning to the center, the national, to speak about equity? Is it that you are determined to hold your state and will lose the federal election. Because if you are serious about winning the presidential election, you should use the same parameters that you are using in your state on the federal level. Secondly, yesterday, my brothers, my friends, our party leaders from the South held a meeting and pushed, insisted, and advocated that the presidency should go to the South. And their decision, their reasoning, is that the South has sacrificed to the PDP. So is the zoning to the South, to the average Igbo man where I come from, they had actually felt that the issue of zoning is to compensate the Igbo man and compensate to the Southeast. But from what happened yesterday, it's not about the Southeast. Even with the Southeast, our question is, are we zoning to the Southeast to ensure fairness, or are we zoning to a competent Nigerian that will win the general election? I submit that the zoning is about competence and winning the election. No opposition party borders with zoning, they border with winning. His Excellency, the Governor of Sokoto State, has just told us what happened to APC in 2015, what happened and how they won the election. So I pray that you as our leaders today should focus on what will win the election and what will make PDP to win the election. And perchance, you decide that you want to go for competence. Perchance, you decide that you want to go for winning over zoning. Please consider Aminu Waziri Tambuwal as your candidate. Consider him because he's transparent. He will run a transparent government. He wants a government that accommodates all parts of the country. We will break the religious divide. We will reunite this country. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Chief, for your attitude. You are welcome, sir.
Just want to observe more protocol and move forward so that we can save time. I heard His Excellencies. I think when we are told that we are going to see you here, I was frightened to join him. My reason of frightening to join him, as a former governor, when I heard the speakers are going to meet, I sometimes feel frightened. Because at the empire and also the player will find it difficult when the empire watching him. And I have experienced my association with the speakers for the last 8 years when I was in office. So that's why I say, okay, since we are coming, I want to, I said, what time? They said 10 o'clock. So I was here at 9:45. Because I don't want to offend my umpires. What His Excellency have just addressed to us is not political speech, it's a point blank. You see, I have been in this business for the last 47 years. Since 1976, at local government level, at all the levels that I rose to become what I am in Nigerian politics. No matter how dull I am, if I am in the university, I think I have been retired as a senior professor for that. So the word of elders are the word of wisdom. When people are agitating of zoning, in 1978-79, when we formed NPP, we are stronger than NPM. But when we come to this, we started party sharing before even we get the power. From there, we pull apart NPP, born GNPP. So we split it, NPP, GNPP. At the end of the day, we lost. I decided to join my brother for his campaign because as the MC introduced me, I was here. It's enough for me to make a choice because I don't want to follow anybody as I used to do before. I was the national chairman of AMPP that brought Buhari into power, into politics in 2003. I gave Buhari a ticket in 2003 to contest for the presidential election. I was just carried away as a military man, as a former head of state. My eyes are not open to know the type of person that I will support. But for the last since then, I went around, my eyes are open, so I will never follow anybody blindly. As a former governor, when I was a governor, he was our member, House of Reps. So for me to be following him, there must be a reason, not because it's from Sokoto, I'm from Sokoto, no. Because I know I'm following the right person who can do. As a lawyer, as a former speaker, as executive governor, these are the three arms of government. And he occupied all. To add more, the young years among all. Physically well, he's not going to take your money for check-up, for treatment. So, for us to support him, as I said, my eyes are open. I'm not supporting him because he's from Sokoto, not at all. If he didn't power, if I know the power person, the only thing, when he sees me, he says, "Run kind this up." Anything I want, whether I follow him, I ask him, please send money for me. But I don't want his money. All I want is, you know, just about a month, 2 months ago, I said I will never go for any elected office. And I'm not looking for any political appointment for the rest of my life. That was why people have said, Bafra have resigned for politics. No, I didn't resign for politics. I said I want to know who's going to be my president. And I want to know who's going to be my governor. When I say I want to know who's going to be my president, I cannot sit in Sokoto and say I want to see who's going to be my president. I must follow the person that I want him to be the president so that I'm sure that I'm safe and Nigerians are safe. Having here all from him, he's not flattering himself, he's saying the facts. And here is the constituency. I'm sure we are helping you to produce one of you to become the president of this country. Because his success is your success. There's no way history will not come. Look, one of you are starting introducing yourself. You are all former members during his tenure as a speaker, his colleagues. So we have to join hands and support one of you. As I have said earlier, I respect this body very well. That's why I came earlier. That's a sign of respect because I know your value, I know what you can do. That's why. So we collectively have to support him. And I urge all of you to support him. As I have said, my eyes are open. I'm not following him blindly. I know he can do it very well. Thank you very much.
But we are humbled that you could gather this people. I must tell you that there is no country. We don't have a country today. It's dead. You can hear the sound of generators.
Sorry, you can go to the podium because the media and then they don't.
If you can follow His Excellency, definitely you do better. the experience is on the side. And head-wise, very, very strong. And probably must have been, many of us are popular than him. So we want somebody who's vibrant, somebody that not believing the affairs of the state, or the deputy for 3 months, 6 months, without looking back. And we don't want a repeat of what happened to So that's why it's better that we look for somebody that's very IT. Because the office of the president is not an easy to do. You know, it's more complex than being the governor of the state. Because every constituency throughout Nigeria is constituency. You know, I'm from Southwest. And Southwest is the home of APC. We have only one governor, the whole of Southwest, which happens to be my own governor, and I know that Senator Jose Agbola, very close, because I remember what happened in Port Harcourt the other time that he worked for you, he worked for his excellency there, and even told this specifically that he should work for the Tambuwal there. So I hope that because the Southwest, where the humanity is not easy. It's not easy. The volume of money in the hands of this man for Lagos, the Lord of Modulo, and all these robbers in the Southwest, they are just managing them. They have been bought. But God on our own side, make sure that we come out with good house this type of around. Because most of these robbers or things, whatever they call them, the authority don't open their mouths. They're only working around just staff that has no hearing. So I'm appealing to my colleagues, oral speakers, not somebody that we can focus. That's somebody that we can work with. And that's somebody that we can rely on. Because being a former speaker of the House of the Rep, I know the other members in the Sokoto State House are doing now, he'll be able to handle better. Because he himself had served as a member in the House of Rep before becoming speaker. So he'll be able to relate better than any other governor that never had the experience of, never had a receiving experience before he became the governor of the state. So now we have Tambuwal there. I know we don't forget this work. We continue to nurture us. Anytime we want to have opportunities.
Members of the principal officers of the former state and assemblies in Nigeria. It is always said that it is the power of the honor to donate. At the same time, monitor what he donates, wherever, whosoever, whenever he does such a donation. We, the entire members of the Principal Officers Conference, temporarily donated distinguished Senator and His Excellency Alhaji Aminu Waziri Tambuwal to the legislature, to the executive now serving as government. I also want to appeal to us, since it is not being used or utilized enough, we retrieve him and forward him again to a much higher responsibility, where his work, his qualities, his competence, his initiatives, intelligence, and capacity in leadership have been felt by the Nigerian populace. stated position of the president. It is in view of this, I am thinking that the candidate before us, or the aspirant before us, is the best that can solve the problem of this nation today. This is because we of us who are here to speak a word of His Excellency Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, recounts of his performance, recounts of his intelligence, recounts of his vibrance, and recounts on his ability to lead and govern people well. It is in view of this I am appealing to this particular forum to work hand in hand and to put extra work, and let's put all our hands on them so as to bring him into the pillar come 2023, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency was in June when I was introduced to him. He said, "Who did you take that from?" I said, "Innocent." He said, "Oh, they come from by Shandam." I said, "What? This man can have this brain of knowing all the processes in this country, including my processes." I was impressed. That is one thing that is going for you, sir, because your brain is sharp because you are young. And again, about this, your aspiration, I've had so much about it. I'm willing and wishing that one day we have the opportunity to hear from you. Our leader, Tambuwal, is here, Mukhtar, is always been talking about this aspiration. Thank God we've had the horse's mouth, and we are convinced, I am personally convinced. And I know too, my colleague from the North Central, they are all here. We are looking forward to a leader that is pan-Nigeria. We that are in the North Central belt, we know how it feels when every time there is president and they give us minister, they give us minister of finance. They give us minister of, and even if you don't have an executive secretary or DG that is of that will help you of the North Central. And knowing you and your predecessor, and because I am pan-Nigeria, we are confident that when you become the president, the North Central will have a bigger body position. Yes, we wish you well, and God.
If we have to solve it, we have to get someone who has the background of being a legislator. And not only being a legislator, a presiding officer. House of Reps is a miniature Nigeria. And for you to lead that, you can conveniently lead this country successfully. We always be talking about America. Can't we learn from them that they always, from time to time, pick their president from the legislature? It's not by mistake. It's not by mistake. The age is on the side. His Excellency is my age. So it will be good to have a younger person that has a grasp that you will not be sleeping, that will give this job a thinking of 247. I mean, it's an urgent task, and we have to appreciate that. That's why even if you go there with your head black before you come, it is white. And that is why we need people with energy. And believe you me, my leaders here, my colleagues, I will implore, sentiment aside, we have seen the analysis he has just given. What more do you need to convince? Believe you me, the choice is clear. We have to promote we have to put our hands on deck to make sure that this project comes to fruition. And the advantage we have here is that all of us sitting here are not under control of anybody any longer. We think for ourselves and we have to act for ourselves. Thank you very much. And I wish you success.
Right Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwal and the entire members of his entourage, my colleagues, the Right Honorable presiding officers, former of state houses of assemblies. Let me start by appreciating God for giving us this opportunity to be here today, to receive in our midst our senior colleague, the former Speaker, House of Representatives, and currently the Governor of Sokoto State, who invited us to come and tinker with him on his ambition to continue with the good job he has started years back in service to Nigeria and in service to humanity through a democratic process. Let me remind all of us, members of this forum, that the person we are all here for is a member of this forum. I was privileged to be the Chairman Conference of Nigerian Speakers, which he was a member. As a Speaker of House of Representatives, he was the Speaker of the FCT, then he is among the list of 36, adding to FCT 37 speakers. And not only being there, he is always working together with us in the Conference of Speakers. He was very, very supportive and active as a member of the Conference of Speakers. So on this note, he is not only a colleague in legislature, he is only a colleague as a member of this forum. So from now on, Your Excellency, sir, whatever you are doing or wherever you are going, you have to remember that you are still a member of this forum. And your space that you are occupying on this forum gave us opportunities and advantages for us to beat our chests on the political landscape of this country to say that, yes, we have come of age. One of us was a former Speaker of House of Representatives. One of us is presently a governor in one of the very, very big and historically positioned states, that is Sokoto. And one of us is equally aspiring, by the grace of God, to become the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, Your Excellency, we are very, very much comfortable with your aspiration. We are happy that you are aspiring for us, not for yourself. And to tell you that what you are seeing here is not the total number of the members of this forum. This constitutes at least, like, if I said 50%, I'm not wrong. Then the other half are not here because of the fact that we all know what Nigeria is facing today in terms of insecurity and other factors that may not allow all of us to be here in Abuja. But thank God, we are almost 50% or 50% that are here. And even those that are not around are aware of what we are doing, are part of whatever decision we are taking as regards to the current affairs of PDP in Nigeria. So, Your Excellency, I'm assuring you that this conference or this forum, looking at the array of credible personalities that are members, most of them are independent politicians, not leaning to one person or another, and you can see Professor this, Dr. this, Right Honorable this, and for you to qualify, to be qualified to be an honorable person, you must have to undergo some criterion that will elevate you to be honorable, or right honorable, or professor or doctor.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.